to your childhood home. I wish that saying goodbye was easier, but when you've been with someone for so long, saying that one word has never been more melancholy. We have shared in 16 years of fond memories. We grew up together. You are my first home. You are the place I have lived ever since I came home from the hospital 2 months after birth to make up for the time I should have spent in the womb. You offered my family hope. That despite being thrown into the whirlwind that comes with the birth of a premature child, that normalcy could still exist. You offer the chance to our family at achieving the same American dream that those before us had longed to experience. Your walls were fittingly painted white so that every morning we could wake up and see the clean slate that was wiped for us by each new sunrise. We surrounded you with a matching white picket fence, and nothing could have been more perfect. When you meet someone, you never want to acknowledge their flaws, and when we covered you in white paint, it was as if we could see all the possibilities. But as the two of us grew, the innocence commonly connoted with white was no longer fitting. So we painted you yellow just in time for my first day of first grade at a new school. Just like any good friends, we've always been together. Ever since childhood, we shared things. As a baby, I shared my vegetables with you. And my parents thought I was just tossing handfuls of peas across the room to make their job a bit harder, but that's not actually the case. But as we grew older, we shared a few bumps and bruises as well. As I got older and became more active, my skin became a rainbow-colored battlefield of injuries, and you, let's just say, weren't looking too hot either. But I never understood why my boo-boos got Band-Aids and yours got thousands of dollars of remodeling. So imagine my surprise when I wake up to see you being drilled by thousands of strange men in ridiculous hats. Seeing you being ravaged, torn to shreds, ripped out of recognition, only to be repaired again reminded me of my own trips to the doctor. I remember how scared I was until my mom held my hand. I was told that you'd look different. And film slides of plastic surgery gone wrong flashed before my eyes, even before I knew what plastic surgery was. I was scared that I wouldn't recognize you, but I remember telling you that I would love you no matter what. When the renovations were done, I was pleased to realize that the changes were for the better. There were no more nails hanging out of splintered wooden boards, and I could finally use the bathroom without the toilet flooding. The heated floors in the bathroom were a nice touch, too. But no matter how many times people came in to fix your appearance, I came to realize that what matters is what's going on inside. You've watched my every developmental milestone. You've sat on my most intimate conversations and observed my most stupid decisions. You heard me recite the first poem I had ever written as my 2-year-old self sat upon your porch. One moon, one car, and one house that cannot be heard. You were the NSA of my childhood, but of course not as invasive. You offered me a safe haven when the world around me spun out of control. On the worst night of my life, I was laying on a mattress in my parents' room, hidden under a turquoise wool blanket that smelled of mothballs. My big kid 6-year-old self was sleeping in my parents' room because my grandpa and role model, Nono Carlo, was sick at the hospital. At midnight, I had awoken to the footsteps of my Uncle Chris, who had flown from Berkeley because of Nono's sudden deterioration. Among all the darkness, the door's hinges screeched as he forced the latches open. The flimsy, aging wood let out a grunt as it bore the weight of what was about to happen. Uncle Chris unfolded the chair before spinning it backwards and taking a seat. His voice poured out in a whisper, and with every few breaths his voice became raspier. The sheets of my parents' bed ruffled as they groggily propped themselves up onto their hands. "He's gone," Uncle Chris whispered as he fought back tears. I could hear it in his voice, and even as a 6-year-old, I knew that I was never going to see my grandpa again. I was determined not to let anyone know that I was awake, so I shoved myself under the mothball-scented blanket and closed my teary eyes until the morning. I had woken up to the next morning and found myself alone in my parents' room, and I no longer had the blanket on and had rolled off of my mattress. As I laid consciously on that cold, wooden floor, next to the fold-up chair in which my uncle sat, I heard the voice of my little brother Danya yell at me, Did you know that Nono died? Yes, I said to him, I know, trying to cover up the lump in my throat. And his feet hit the stairs. I counted every one of his 22 footsteps before letting out an entire night's worth of crying. I just laid there and cried. And you, my childhood home, have always came to my rescue when I need a good cry. You were here for me when Danya and I turned our messy and frankly very unsafe basement into a fort masterpiece by stacking new mattresses on top of one another. And while it seemed like a good idea in theory, we made slides out of mattresses and aimed them at very hard and solid fixtures. In practice, it failed miserably, kind of like communism. But rather than ending in mass starvation, it ended in Danya sliding face first into our washing machine, chipping several teeth, denting our dryer, and marking his path with a trail of blood. We've had some good times. But as I sit here, I realize all of the other things I'll miss. I will miss all of the lovely K2 reporters who I have come to know from their many visits to cover shootings in my neighborhood. I will miss falling asleep to the noises of crickets chirping and waking up to the sound of birds. I will miss living so close to train tracks that I hear trains chugging along their paths at the same time every day, from the day I was born until the day I leave. But most of all, I will miss all of the hopes and dreams I left behind. The hope that we would get through crazy college parties together, raise our children together, and grow old together. Now I have to head to a new place and call it my home. And while most people wonder why I'm so sad over leaving you, a mass of bricks and wood, they don't understand that there's more to you. There's more to this. And as the movers strip you of your possessions, leave you cold, naked, and humiliated for the whole world to see, the one thing that they cannot take away from us are our memories. Dear childhood home, saying goodbye has never been easy. Normally it takes me hours to get guests out of the front door, but in a couple days, I'll have to walk out of it myself. And I'm still not sure how I'll be able to let you go, and how I'll be able to let you know how amazing this was. This has been one hell of a ride, and I can't believe it's over. So as I walk past this yellow picket fence for the very last time, I can't help but to thank you for helping us reach our version of the American dream. Part of the American dream is knowing when to let go of old feelings, sentiments, and possessions and trade them in for more contemporary ones. But I can't let go of 16 years in one word, so instead I'll use 3. See you later.